We're live. We're live. So it takes like a few minutes for people to come on. So I'm so excited to have you on. I love your program. And one of the things that really attracted me to your program was that you made it affordable, and I think so many people you kind of see like, and I'm not saying that their programs are worth it or not, but the fact is there are some job seekers that just really don't have the means for it, right? I work with a lot of job seekers who don't necessarily have the money, and it kind of sucks because it's like I see a lot of job seekers, their parents pay for programs and they get up ahead, but some people who don't have that financial support, they really struggle because it's like they have to go through, like, I've learned a lot about job seeking, but I spent hundreds of hours kind of just going through things, talking to other people, and it's taken me years. And it's like I wish I had someone like me, or like the battle plan when I was younger. So can you just give a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure. My name is Michael Altshuler. I'm an entrepreneur. I've made millions. I've lost millions. I've gone on that entrepreneurial journey. My heart is really to help people, to help transform lives, both personally and professionally. This is really a calling for me. I'm a peak performance coach and a sales coach, and I became a career coach because I saw the huge challenge in the marketplace where to me, it wasn't just folks that didn't have a job. There's so many people that were on the verge of losing their home or couldn't take care of their families. And to me, that's really significant. So I wanted to do something about it. And like you said in the beginning, I wanted to do something that was affordable. I mean, folks without a job aren't making money. I mean, they have government assistance, but that only goes so far. So I really wanted to create something that was powerful. I'm very results driven. So anyone who truly wanted to get a job, and not just a job, but the job of their dreams, I wanted to give them a proven roadmap, a blueprint on how to do that, how to win the job amongst tremendous odds and competition. How do you win? Because second place doesn't pay very well. So that's what I created. And I have multiple programs and ebooks. Some are free, some are $9.95. And then I have an ongoing coaching program that instead of $100 or $200 a month, it's $19.95 a month, $19.95 a month. So
Yeah.
there's many things that I want to offer to help people. Right now, there's a lot of folks that are not happy in their present jobs as well. They say, how do I use my current skills and transfer them over to a new career, a new job? We dive into that as well.
Wow, that's amazing. It's super comprehensive, and I
Yes.
really thank you for kind of making it comprehensive because I see a lot of ones that just like they'll cover one aspect, they won't really cover a lot. And you mentioned something great that second place just doesn't cut it. Like they say, I think, in the Olympics, right? Second place up, but you at least get a medal, right? You get some record. Second place for a job interview,
Right.
you don't get the job,
Exactly. You
right?
can't call it. You can't call up the electric company and say, "Listen, I almost got the job and I'm almost going to pay you."
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
they say I want to be paid and almost doesn't count. I
yeah.
almost sent the check out. Won't work.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's sort of all or nothing, and it makes a big difference because I've seen it happen to a lot of people where it's like once they start getting more job opportunities, it just boosts your confidence so much when you see like, wow, people are interested in me, like I must mean something. And it's so much easier to negotiate because I tell people, look, it's always important to negotiate, but there's always a risk of kind of losing out on an opportunity, right? Whereas like sometimes it's like if you have three opportunities, it's like, okay, if I lose out on this one, I got this one, I got this one. Like I said, in my opinion, the most important thing in a negotiation is the ability to walk away. If you don't have the ability to walk away, you just can't really exercise the negotiation. There's always some level of fear or some level of like, hey, what if I don't get this? When will the next one come?
Right. You want to create that scarcity that, listen, you're not the only one who wants me. And to be in that position isn't by luck or
Yeah.
happenstance. It's by proper planning, it's by proper preparation, it's by proper execution. There's certain things that you have to do that will absolutely 100%, not 50% or 70%, put the odds in your favor where you'll go from probability to inevitability to winning the
Oh,
job of your dreams.
oh, I love
Simple,
that.
simple, but not easy.
Yeah.
There's work that has to be done. Finding a job and getting a job, especially a job of your dreams. I'm talking career, position, location, pay, benefits, everything that you want. If you had a magic wand and said, this is what I want for my job, and I really want to put the odds in my favor, I'm willing to put the work in, finding a job and getting the job of your dreams is a full-time job. So you have to be committed to the effort, committed to the time, committed to the energy. And if you do that, you'll put yourself in the leadership position, in the lead amongst all the others who aren't willing to make that commitment and those sacrifices.
And you brought up a great point. You have to be very deliberate because yes, look, you can get lucky and get a job, but that's not a strategy, right? It's not like, hey, I'm gonna, if your future goals depend on luck, right? It's like, okay, you're depending on these external factors. Now, you want to control as much of that as possible, and the beauty of that is you can control a lot. You can set the stone. You can do a lot. Now, let's kind of talk about the job market, right? Because the job market is very interesting. And so what advice or what kind of things do you want to kind of share regarding that?
Well, I think it's clear that things are opening up. I know there's a new thing with COVID and this new strain of COVID. But here's the thing: there's plenty of hourly jobs, and what happened was the government was paying very decent amounts of money to those folks that weren't working. It almost paid them not to work. You'd sit at home and get paid to not work. So companies were starving for the, let's call it lower level. No disrespect. I'm just saying lower level income or salary or per hourly wage. And they're kind of desperate for people. So there's no problem getting those jobs. You don't need a job coach. You just need to get off your butt, go out there and apply, and you'll get the job. They incentivize folks to get those jobs. So there's plenty of those jobs available. But for those that really want to take the next step and maybe grow their career and elevate their career, and those that want to transform into something better and go for a job of their dreams, a career of their dreams, they're going to, and maybe are going from one career to another, you're really going to have to put some work in. And those jobs are very possible. You have transferable skills, and we get into what that looks like as we drill that into it. How do I transfer the skills I have now into a new career, into a new industry? There's ways to do that, both strategically and from an execution standpoint, that will actually earn you points in the hiring manager's mind to say, yeah, we want you. So I think the opportunity now today is those going after, let's call mid-career managers, supervisors, and those at executive levels that really want to make a move, not a lateral move, but a move up or a move to a new career. How do you do that? And that's where expert coaching and a rock solid game plan is going to be critical and put the odds in your favor.
So I have a question. What are transferable skills? Because, there's all this talk like if you have transferable skills, but what is a transferable skill and how do you kind of demonstrate that to someone? Like, hey, I worked in XYZ. Because so many people just think, I talk to a lot of people, they're like, hey, I worked in this industry, I'm kind of stuck. And it's like, they don't know how to think outside their industry and how their skills can sort of apply. They need to have someone. So what would you describe as how would you define transferable skill?
Well, a transferable skill is a skill that you possess that may be in a different industry, but if you're, let's say, a great people person or a great leader, being a great leader knows no industry. It's industry agnostic. It's job agnostic. If you know how to lead people, if you know how to motivate people, if you know how to take people to the next level and teach them and coach them, doesn't matter what the product or service is or the industry is. That's a transferable skill. They call them soft skills. You don't have the technical skills are easier to learn. Like I have to learn about, for example, you're in the office equipment business. You have to learn about your products and the industry and the competition. But those are things that you can learn. To learn people skills, the most important skills are people skills, leadership skills, work ethic. Work ethic, if you demonstrate that you are able to establish goals and exceed every goal you ever set for yourself, you were always over quota if you have a sales job, then it doesn't matter what the sale. It shows that you're a hard worker And you want these things when you offer, rather than say I'm a hard worker, you rather, and it's much more significant to demonstrate that by quantifiable data to say, I was 125% of quota for 3 years. That automatically demonstrates and communicates that you're a hard worker, that you set goals, that you're always improving your skill base, you're sharpening your axe. So quantifiable skills are really what you want to present to someone. And all those transferable skills, most people possess. If they've been successful in any career, they have so many skills, time management skills, proper follow-up and follow-through skills, team management, team leadership skills. So there's so many things that you could really show and demonstrate and transfer to a new job.
No, you bring up so many great points. And so, what are some of the transferable skills? You have the sales, you have the leadership, you have the communication. What are some other transferable skills?
Yeah, so you have leadership, you have time management skills, communication skills. Okay, you have skills that you can prioritize, which is part of time management. You can prioritize what's important. How about skills on how to properly deal with problems, challenges? Every business has challenges. How about customer service skills, customer management skills? So there's so many things. Every business has it's important, it's critical to deal with customers. How do you affect it? Every business, it's important to communicate, critical. Every business, important to hit goals, to establish goals or quotas or sales benchmarks. So all those things, your ability to do that where you're currently at will absolutely be transferable if you've been successful at it to any new industry or job. Time management, goal setting, leadership, communication. It goes on and on and on in terms of what you demonstrate. You just have to think, look it up online. There's going to be a list this long of all soft skills that you possess. And then you want to present those in a way by providing quantifiable data, metrics and KPIs, that by doing this, I had 35% less turnover because I'm a great leader. Our team always overaccomplished our goals. By providing that, it's going to prove, not just say it, it's going to prove that those aren't just words, but it's actually a fact because of the results that you've achieved.
No, very good points and very good advice. I just want to give a shout out to Ryan Callio, Lissa Shari. Thank you so much for watching and your supportive comments. I've learned a lot about transferable skills, and it's just so interesting because it's just one of those things that people just don't realize they have. They just think like this is easy, but they've worked at it, they develop it through experience. Like I've seen a lot of people, people who work retail, people who work in restaurants, right? It's not easy. You're working with the staff, things are not going wrong. This customer's like, hey, my food's not right, and you have to communicate with them, you have to work on them, and you have to solve the problem, because if the customer doesn't come back, right, that's potential loss of revenue and all that. So a lot of people don't realize that there's so many things that they actually do. And then you mentioned quantifiable. I think that's really important. Like I've seen a lot of people on their resumes, they'll write, I work on large deals. But what is a large deal? Is it $10, $100, $10,000, $10 million, or high volume? What does that mean? Because high volume to me may be super high volume to you, right? Unless you communicate. Whereas if I told you I handle 100 orders a day, or I handle 200 customers a day, now you can say, oh, you know what? That's a lot. You can make your own assumption. You know what 200 means. High volume is just an opinion, and it can vary from person to person.
Yeah, great point. And you have to understand also that those are fluff words.
Yeah.
Is there ever a person that's going to say, I'm really lazy and not a hard worker?
Yeah.
I'm a terrible communicator and the worst leader you could ever hire for your company. Everyone. So if everyone says the same thing, then it kind of minimizes and reduces the impact of what you're saying, because everyone says it. However, if you say, don't say those things, I'm a hard worker. Say every year for the last 3 years, if you're an inventory, if you work in inventory, you're a warehouse manager. Say for every year I reduced damaged goods by 23% or greater every year since I was with the company for the last 5 years. I reduced turnover by 38%, and I increased profitability 65% as a result of doing those two other things. Now, everything you're saying has so much more meat and bite and impact. And that's compelling to anyone that is looking at this, a hiring manager, recruiter, because now you're basing it on facts versus fluff.
Yeah, and then the other thing is it also sets you up for the interview, because what happens is there's actually a science to interviewing. Most interviewers have not read a textbook and they just kind of ask what they see on the resume, what they feel like are good questions. When you put those things on the resume or when you communicate it during an interview, right? I say when you put it on the resume, what happens is now they can say, how'd you reduce this by 38%? What'd you do? Now what happens is you're going to talk, they're asking you a question about your accomplishment. Now you can tell them, hey, I did XYZ. I saw that they were getting damaged because too many boxes were in this, or I realized if I put this on the corner. Now you can show how you solved the problem. So showcase your accomplishments. People ask, how did you do that? Oh, you know what? This is how you thought. You identified a problem. You did XYZ. You saw the solution. So that's why it's very important when you communicate these things, whether it's on your resume or during the interview, it leads to good follow-up questions. And the fact is, you know about this. You wrote about it. You can explain how. Because you have all the answers that they're seeking. It's just you have to get the right questions out of them. So you have to be very strategic when you interview. You have to set yourself up so they're asking you the questions that are going to paint you in a very good light.
Exactly. You want to, and well said, you want to plant those seeds that will then grow into something bigger and better for you. And the way to do that is, like you said, once you establish what your accomplishments have been and they ask those questions, or if they don't, may I share this, how I did this with my previous job. And here's something else that's very critical. You want to make sure everything you say relates to the job, the position, what they want, the outcome of that job. So if they ask you, tell me about yourself, everything you say should relate to what that job is about and how what you're saying will help you do that job better or at the highest level possible. So you always want to make it completely congruent and consistent with the job. So if they ask you, don't tell them about kindergarten, that you love to go on picnics in kindergarten. Tell them about things that are important and impactful to that position you're applying for. And to the point that we're just talking about, you want to make 100% sure that when you talk about your accomplishments, okay, you want to then say how those accomplishments will help you do XYZ, which is what they put in the job application, what they put in the job requirements. And when you do that, when you hit that nail on the head, that's when you really score some points.
So what motivated you to create the battle plan?
Well, I was on the TV show American Gladiators. Okay. So if anyone remembers, it's kind of like the current day American Ninja Warrior. Back in the day, there was something called American Gladiators. And I love competing. I love winning. I love winning in sales. I love winning in life. And I love, more importantly, helping people win. And a battle plan is different. This is not getting a job as usual. It's not like you apply for a job and you're the only one. You're competing against sometimes hundreds of people. And that's a battle. You have to win. Like I said, second place doesn't pay very well. So what does it take to score the most points in the hiring manager's mind where they say, you're the best candidate for the position? Well, you need a battle plan. It's not luck. It's not happenstance. It's not, I'll just wing it. It's you need a plan. You need to practice that plan. You need to do all the little things that make the big difference. And when you do those things, when you follow this battle plan, simple, not easy, when you do that, you'll put yourself in a position to win. And that's the name of the game. I don't want to come in second. And it's all the little things, like I said, that make the big difference. The thank you card at the end that no one sends. How would you like me to follow up after this interview? Ask these questions. Do the research on the company. Most job applicants do not do aggressive research on the company and the person interviewing them. Know about their culture. Know about any new acquisitions they made, new product launches that they made. Know about the person interviewing you, what their passions are, so you could connect and relate to those passions. And the more research you do, the better off you're going to be. Like a football team in the NFL. Believe me, they watch a lot of film of the team they're going to compete against. The more information, knowledge is power when properly applied. You want as much knowledge on the company, the position, the people interviewing you as you can possibly get. That will put you in the driver's seat. That's step number one. Step number two is you want to practice, drill, and rehearse. Practice, drill, and rehearse until you don't feel like doing it anymore, and then do it some more. Because the first step is always getting the interview, and the second step is acing the interview. And the only way you do that is by following those two steps. And the practice, drilling, and rehearsing There's 45 common questions that I offer in the massive attack plan and job battle plan. There's 45 commonly asked questions, any one of which or multiple numbers of those questions will be asked. You need to have your answers prepared, and you don't have to recite them word for word, but you have to be ready with the best response so you don't flub your answer because you've already prepared for it and you're ready to really nail it when they ask you.
Yeah, I mean, it makes such a big difference because sometimes, even if you may not have the best resume, you may still get called to the interview. Now, in the interview, that's where you have an even playing field, right? That's when you can showcase a lot of things, despite not being the best person on paper. If you show that, hey, you're there to learn, you're there, that you're serious, that you research, that you're there to perform, you can get the job. I've seen it happen all the time.
Yeah, and I want to point out something that most people think that they have applicant tracking systems, and you have to make sure that your resume matches 65% or greater to the keywords on the application without keyword stuffing. And there's more
Right.
on that in the massive attack battle plan. But what I want to stress is that 65% of all jobs are not attained by submitting resumes online. They're attained by networking, by having people introduce you into a company to a certain person. And most people do not have. This is part of the strategy. Strategy number one: how do I get tons of interviews with the companies I want interviews with? How do I do that? Number one is you have to really work, aggressively work your network. That means what doctor, what accountant do you go to? How about the moms and dads on the soccer field? How about your neighbors? How about your friends? Those in your social media. There's a list you can make a mile long of all the people you know, work with, used to work with. Make that list, reach out to those people and say, listen, I need your help. Do you know anyone in this company that you could introduce me to, or anyone in this industry that you could introduce me to? And if you do that, sales and applying for a job is and will always be a numbers game. So the more people you reach out to and ask for help, the higher the likelihood that you'll get that help, you'll get that introduction that moves you to the top of the list in getting in. You're talking to a decision maker or an influencer. And then once you do that, you just have to nail the interview to get, or to nail the call to get the interview. And then you go to phase two. What does it take to nail the interview? And that's practice drawing, rehearsing the best responses to any one of those 45 questions that could be asked to you.
Ah, you brought up such a great point because, I've seen this happen to a lot of older job seekers where they're like, hey, I'm not getting a job due to ageism. And I always tell them, what about your network? Like you have, if you're 50, whatever, plus years old, I said, you've had 20, 30 plus years head start to network, than people who are in their 20s and 30s. Use that. And I've seen a lot of people, it's like, you gotta, they're sometimes embarrassed to let people know that they're looking for a job. It's like, there's someone in your network who would probably help you find a job right now. They just don't know you're looking. And if they don't know you're looking, how can they help? Most people are
Yeah,
not, I'm not going to say, hey, Michael, you looking for a job? I have a job for you, right? If you don't tell me, I'm not going to think of you, right? So those
exactly.
things make a big difference. And I've seen intros just come from so many places. Like I've gotten referrals from like people I went to high school with. They're like, hey, my friends, so all these types of things, it's like they happen, but you have to put in the work and really reach out to these people.
Yeah, and I want to bring something up. First of all, I noticed when you said over 50, you look closely at me. Yeah, Mike, you would fit that category. But
I
what I want to
didn't.
say,
Sorry about that.
no, no, no. I listen. I like that. You see, with age comes wisdom. With age comes experience. With age comes communication skills. It comes how to deal with success and failure. Because the older you are, the more those things have impacted you. And it's not what happens to you; it's what you make from what
Yeah.
happens to you. But when you're looking for a job, and let's say you're older, we all have beliefs. Some are self-limiting, they hold us back, and some are empowering, they move us forward. So here's what I would say to anyone that's older: the hiring manager, the recruiter, is going to have a preconceived notion in their mind that if you're older, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, probably not as good with computer skills. You know what? Probably set in their ways. You know, they're on the tail end of their career. They probably don't have the energy that a younger person would have. So, all these things, consciously or subconsciously,
Yeah.
are biases that people have with older people. It happens. It's the reality of the world we live in. Those are the elephants in the room. If you know that, and you can know that, what you want to do is address those things up front, and you want to either neutralize what is negative in the hiring manager's mind, or if you're really good, turn it into a positive. Let me give you an example. I'm interviewing for a job. I'm 64 years old, which I am. And I
I
interview, I
had
say,
no
you know,
idea.
yeah,
You got so much energy for someone 64.
thank you. Thank you. Uh, and that's no coffee. So I would interview for a job, and in their mind, and this would also be if you're too young.
Yeah,
They think, oh, this person has no experience, that
yeah,
maybe someone just out of college. I dropped out of college, so, who would hire me, right? But the point is they have preconceived notions in their mind. So if I'm going in there and I know they're looking at someone older and they're thinking, oh, this guy's older, he's slower, not willing to learn new things, and probably not good with computers, and all the negative things that they would think in their mind based on their experience and based on their biases. I go in and say, you know what, Mr. Jones or Mrs. Jones, many folks see that, I'm a little older than most people maybe applying for this position. And maybe they would see that as a negative. And in fact, if I may share with you why that's a positive, is because I have so much experience in this business, whatever this business is. And in terms of energy, I am just the ever ready bunny. I just go and go and go and go. And you see that, and you'll probably be able to tell that just by my tone and my energy right now. And I believe in Ray Kroc's quote, the founder of McDonald's: when you're green, you grow, and when you're ripe, you rot. I have a growth mindset. I always want to learn more and continue to grow. So any preconceived notions that I'm not saying you had, but some others may have had, I want you to know that I will pretty much outperform anyone who's younger because of those things I just mentioned to you.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. And you brought up another great point. Like sometimes people will have biases, whatever reason. The thing is, it's not hard to destroy those biases with little effort, right? If they think you can't use a computer, show them, right? Make sure that when you're emailing them that it's you know how to use, right? You're familiar with these things. You're familiar with these, right? Because I could tell, right? I provide customer service, and there are plenty of old people who are very good with technology that they listen, and there are plenty of people that and look, you don't want to give like if someone sends you a Zoom call, you don't want to be like, I can't log into Zoom. Automatically, it's gonna be like, what are you doing? It's just like same thing. Like I know when I see a person, and you see this, right? You're like, you already know. It's like what? Like you don't want to showcase that. Hey, it's the 20th century. You're gonna have a lot of business meetings over video. So if you show, hey, I can answer your calendar links. I can use these basic things. You don't have to be an expert. You have to show, hey, you send me an email, you put me in front of a computer, I can use it, I can manage it, and these are things that go a long way. Same thing, the communication goes a long way, the experience goes a long way, the ability to relate to people goes a long way. I think that's something that's a lot of people just really underrate. That sometimes it's like maybe you only have to maybe watch a YouTube video on how to use Zoom. And the beauty is, there's anything out there, there's always a YouTube video because you're
Exactly.
not the only one who needs to learn, right? And again,
Exactly.
it just showcases like that growth mindset that yes, Michael, you said you're 64, but again, I don't think of you as 64. Actually, I was like, look, I know he's had a lot of experience, but I didn't think of you in terms of your age. I thought
Right.
of you in terms of your skills, your abilities, what you're doing, how you help people, and that's what you kind of want to do. That the age is not the first defining moment of you,
Right.
right? Because that's what they're gonna stereotype that if
All
yeah,
they care about is that you are the candidate that can get the job done better than any other candidate. That's it. So that's the end game for them. Your job is to find out what you need to say and do to convince them that you are the person who is the best person for that job, and to minimize, neutralize any potential negatives they have in their mind, and amplify any strengths, experiences, results you've achieved, and how that's transferable to the job that you're applying for.
yeah, no, it's all about just transferable skills. And the thing is, it's like, look, you can always learn something, right? I've seen people just tremendous, right? People change careers all the time. People go into new industries all the time. There's some, it's all about, and the beauty is there's so much, right? If there's podcasts out there, there's YouTube, right? You want to read books, you want to follow conferences. And the beauty is, it's like when you have this much experience, you come in with a different perspective. Like if you come in with a 15, 20, 30-year sales background and now you're moving to technology, right? You're going to learn the language a little, but you can still sell technology. You can still, if you understand customer service in the restaurant industry, you understand the core principles. Now you just have to translate it. And this is a strength, right? These are other things. These are other stories that you can kind of share. So that's something important. Now, what are some like things that you see? What are like 2 or 3 things that you see people struggle with that they can sort of easily fix?
Yeah, I think there's, I used 2 words from a book that I read 35 years ago by Fred Herman. It was called Selling is Simple. And in the parentheses, it said, but not easy.
Yeah.
Life is simple, but not easy. Business is simple, but not easy. There's a lot of things in the outside world that impact our inside world. And there's things in our inside world that sometimes hold us back from doing things that we want to do in the outside world. So, I talk about behavior and what's going to drive someone to be more successful in landing the job of their dreams. And what I find, and by the way, I have a podcast show called Get Hired with Job Gladiator that I interviewed the top hiring managers and recruiters from across the country. I'm getting ready to finish a book, 364 pages of the
Wow.
best advice from the people who actually can say, yes, you got the job, or no, you can't. Right from the horse's mouth, they're telling you what are the greatest mistakes that job seekers make, what do they miss, what do they do well. And I wanted to get, as a career coach, my clients have a super high level of success, over 90%, get the job of their dreams. Okay, but I can only speak to so many people one-on-one. So I created group coaching, and that I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. But the bottom line is, when I interviewed these recruiters and hiring managers, these are the folks that actually say yes or no, that have interviewed tens of thousands of individuals and either hired them or said, no way, no go. And I wanted to get inside their heads and pull back the curtain and say, why did you make that decision? What does someone need to say and do to get the job? And by getting this information, this is the ultimate, the definitive. With the other things I have, which are strategic, these are the things that you're going to hear and see that are fail-safe, because it's the people that are making the decision. So I think the biggest things that I heard over and over again from these recruiters and hiring managers is that job seekers just don't do their research. They just don't. And people are generally lazy. They don't put the time in.
Yeah.
So if that's you, invest the time. Understand that finding a job is a job. The more you put into it with the right blueprint, the better the result is going to be when you're done. So put the time in, learn, go to the company's website, learn about the company. Like I said, their vision, their mission, learn everything you can about the job, the products, the service, the lingo, everything you can. That will absolutely bear fruit during the interview that you've done that. And it shows when you've done your homework, it shows that that's the type of employee you'll be also for their company, that you do your research. Who doesn't want someone that puts the effort in? So you demonstrate so many other qualities other than knowing about their company by going in and knowing about their company. And the second thing, the biggest thing that I've heard and see firsthand is the practicing, drilling, and rehearsing the best answers and responses. And you mentioned something I didn't mention, I'm glad you did, that you want to tell stories. Well, when my boss did this, how did I handle that situation? Or when I got criticized, or when this bad thing happened in my company, how did I handle a difficult situation? By telling a story, a short story, you want it to be clear, concise, and compelling, to the point that will benefit you and them relating to the job that you're applying for. You're not going to come up with stories off the top of your head, but if you plan them, when they ask you a question, you're going to be better prepared to have better answers. Better answers means better results.
No, I mean, better, and you want better results, because better results just lead to just a much better life. Now, what's one thing I realized, because you have the sales background. I do a lot of resumes for people, and you know who ends up doing the best? salespeople, because they're the ones who kind of treat it right. They have the sales skills. They understand sales. When they approach the job search, they understand. Hey, I gotta. Here's my quote. I gotta get these interviews. What do I gotta get an interview? And then if I get an interview, right? You get someone on the phone. What do you do? What do I do to set myself apart? Now to get to
Exactly.
the next stage. What do I do? How do I make the prospect? I gotta research the prospect. I gotta know what they like. I gotta know what they don't like. I gotta show them prepared. So I gotta close this deal. And so what I've seen time and time again, these are the ones who are like, they understand. And it's interesting. It's like at first the job search is like overwhelming, and then once you break it down, it's like, look, treat it like a sales thing. Think about customers. Here's what you need to do. You need to get out your proposals, right? That's your applications. Now you get some people who are biting. You're getting these things. Some people answer the phone. Now it's like, what do you do next? What do you do next? And it's like I've seen salespeople, because they're the ones who like are not. They're comfortable applying the strategies.
100%. And remember, it's feature, advantage, benefit, something called FAB. People don't care about the feature. They don't care about the advantage. They want to know what it will do for them. Okay, so at the end of the day, all that hiring manager cares about is what will you do for their company that will help them execute on this job, do this job the best possible, in the best possible way or manner. And how do you demonstrate that? How do you prove that? That's the quantifiable data. And when you demonstrate that during the interview because you prepared properly, that's what's going to do it. And to your point, it's about follow-up. It's about follow-through. It's about your tone of voice. It's about your listening skills. All the things that are important, all these little things that are important that will bring you eventually, all these little things, like I said, will bring you to the finish line with more points than anyone else to win the job battle.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the way you approach it. It's like a battle. You got to go win. You have a target. You got to be a strategy. Um, there's a lot of strategy that goes involved, right? Because if you just go rush into battle, yeah, maybe you could get lucky, right? But a lot of times it's technique, it's strategy. These are
Yeah.
the types of things. It's knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah. And I want you to know, anyone listening to this right now, or whoever is listening to this right now, I want you to know I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you. But I got D's and F's in school. I mean, I got left over my senior year. I dropped out of college after a year and a half. I made millions in my life and I've lost millions in my life. And I'm telling you this, A, because I care, and B, because I know it works. And what I want to make you aware of is this is not brain surgery. This is not something complex. Anyone thinking to themselves, I don't think I'll be able to do this. I promise you, it's simple steps. That if you take this step, if you say, let me make a list of everyone I know, friends, family members, dentists, accountants, neighbors, soccer moms, soccer dads, where your kids play, if you're part of a PTA, everyone you know, make a list. And then say, I'm going to reach out to them and ask them for their help if they know anyone in whatever industry or whatever job you're looking for, and use your social media. Put it out there. Sales and looking for a job, as you said, is a numbers game. So the more people that are aware of it, the more people that you touch points, the more you're going to have in your funnel that will allow you opportunities to have conversations and then to get interviews. But my main point here is it's not difficult. So it's simple, but it's not easy. What I mean,
Yeah.
it's simple. A sixth grader could do this. And I say that not in a way that I want to demoralize or I want to diminish anyone's intelligence. I'm just saying it doesn't take a brain, an A student, because I certainly wasn't one of those. But if you're willing to put in the work and the time, I promise you'll get the results. And that's really what I want to impress upon you, that it's about the time and effort. I'm going to give you the blueprint. This is the blueprint. It might work. It will work. If you commit to the time and the energy, I promise you that you'll get the results you're looking for.
No,
That
and
simple, not easy.
yeah, and I really want to clarify what simple, not easy what Michael means by simple, not easy. Running a marathon is simple. You just run in the circle. You just run along a pace for 26 miles. It's not easy because to do that, you have to practice. You have to set your goals. You have to keep going. You have to push yourself. You have to set a time. So again, the task is simple, but not easy. And a lot of things in life are simple, right? It's like, hey, how do you get enough sleep? Make sure you go to bed on time. Is it necessarily easy? No, you got to worry about this. You got to worry about that. You want to watch Netflix. You want to do all these types of things. So just realize that a lot of things are simple, But simple things are oftentimes the hardest, right? Sometimes you
Yeah.
want to say no to that slice of cake. It's not easy, right? So just realize that just because something, there are some complex things that are easy because, hey, you just follow these steps. And then there are simple things that aren't many steps, but they're hard. So you have to figure out how to sort of do these simple things. And that's the beauty of it. It's like, it's not crazy. The process of doing it is not hard,
Not difficult.
not
Right.
difficult, right? But again, you have to put the time, you have to commit.
Let me and
Any,
let me share with you. I'm sorry for let
yeah,
me share with you as a peak performance coach. I'm going to share with you the greatest challenge you have. Everyone listening to this right now, and that's comfort. Comfort is the killer of success.
yeah,
Okay, the most successful people in the world are comfortable being uncomfortable, and they're uncomfortable being comfortable. You have to push yourself beyond your comfort zone, what you don't feel like doing. The
yeah, yeah,
successful person will do what the unsuccessful person will not do. If you don't feel like doing it, chances are it's the right thing to do. And every time you push yourself beyond your comfort zone, you grow.
yeah,
And
yeah.
when you grow, you get better results because you build resilience and persistence and skills. So, easier said than done. So, I'm going to give you a few pointers here. If you find yourself saying, I don't feel like doing this, that's normal. But what's going to push you to do it? And that's your why. The bigger your why, the bigger your try. Simon Sinek in his book, Start With Why, is the why is the greatest motivator we all have. Why must you do this? Well, I want to do it for my children. I grew up in a poor family and we never had anything. Whatever the why is, attach tons of pain if you don't do it and tons of pleasure if you do accomplish it. And the more you can think about your why, that driving force of why you must do it, when you don't feel like doing it, that comfort zone sets in. That's what's going to drive you. When you think about that, when you think about what you're thinking about, it's going to push you forward. That's number one. Remember, we're human beings. We're not human doings. We have to be more before we do more, before we have more. So understand that your why is going to be the driving force. Attach pleasure and pain. Pain if you don't do it, pleasure if you do. So you get comfortable and say, I don't feel like doing it. Think about what you're thinking about and say, this is why I'm going to push myself beyond my comfort zone right now because it's important enough in my life to do this. This is my why. And the last thing is, none of us go this road alone. Life and business are tough. Okay? So surround yourself with people that I call encouragers, not discouragers, battery chargers, not battery drainers. Surround yourself with people who support, encourage, and hold you accountable to what you want to accomplish in your life, to your goals and your dreams and your vision of a better future. And when you do that, because none of us go this road alone, even professionals, watch the Olympics. I watched the Suni, who won the all-around in gymnastics after Simone exited. How did she do that? She said, I felt like quitting many times during my career. This is the best of the best in the world. And she said, it's because of my teammates, my family, my coach. That's why I continue. The best in the world, if they need people in their corner, so do you, so do I, so does everyone. So for us to maintain and operate at the peak level, to push beyond our comfort zone when we feel like quitting, which we all do at times, surround yourself with people that will charge your battery, that will encourage you and support you and hold you accountable and remind you of what your why is.
No, I mean, look, even Mike Tyson, right, had a coach. Michael Jordan had
Everyone.
a coach. Everybody has a coach because it's like you need those people in your corner. And when you don't have those people in your corner, right, your ego starts to take control. You have blind spots. You miss these things. So it's very important to sort of have people around you who can sort of keep you in check, who you can discuss. Look, you'll disagree, but at the end of the day, they truly care about you and they're invested in your success and your future.
Exactly.
Yeah. So any final thoughts before you sort of wrap up?
No, I just listen. My wish and prayer for everyone listening to this is that you can go and I think you'll share with everyone,
Yeah.
where they can go and get. It's a free ebook, the Job Gladiator Battle Plan. Don't get it if you're just going to get it and not read it, but get it, read it. More importantly, do it. Tony Robbins said if you had 5 birds sitting on a telephone wire and 3 decide to fly away, how many would you have left? And most people say 2. No, you'd have 5. They simply decided to fly away, but they never took action on their decision. So I encourage you, there's 3 things in life: thoughts, decisions, and actions. You now have this information. You have the ability right now to make a decision. The thought is there. Make a decision, take action so you live the best life you possibly can. And that's by moving forward and taking the first step and getting the free Job Gladiator battle plan and then putting it into practice.
So everyone, Michael's gonna send me the link. So shoot me a message. Just say, hey, I'm interested in Michael's book. I'll send you the link and give you the resources. And you know what? The first step is very powerful. One of my mottos in life is just start. There are so many people you put on these grand schemes like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Take that first step. Sometimes,
Yeah,
oftentimes, that's the hardest, right? You get that. It's
yeah. There's a saying that you hear that I heard in the Olympics, and I've heard it years and years ago. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
yeah.
So I encourage everyone to start to be great. Take that first step, even if it's a baby step. Take that first step, and then continue to take baby steps. As they say, inch by inch, anything's a cinch. Yard by yard, anything's hard. Take those baby steps. Get started, and move towards a better future for you. And if you have a family, your family.
No, I really want to thank you. I love your sayings, man. You really know them down pack, right? I love the poetry. I love your energy. I know that it doesn't matter when you're 74, 84. I know you're always going to be working towards something bigger. So I really appreciate that you. I love the energy that you have. I love how encouraging you are. And everybody, have someone like Michael in your life. Follow his content, support him, send him a connection request. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
I know you're going to be impacting so many much more lives than you've already impacted.
Perfect. That's what I want. Thank you.